fair warning, we're gonna start off this segment a little bit negative, but it's important for understanding why I ended up liking this game as much as I did. I have a lot of fighting games on this countdown, as has probably been obvious to you. It's a genre I got into young and haven't grown sick of since. So there's a lot of experience for me there, over a decade at this point. It's a volatile genre, essentially entering into a new era every 5 years or so. Or basically anytime a new Street Fighter comes out. And while I enjoy many fighting games from what I would call the Street Fighter V era, many of which appeared on this list, it represented a genre trend that honestly really upset me. In an attempt to appeal to a wider audience, fighting games started getting simpler. Sometimes in pretty drastic ways. Fewer moves, fewer game systems, fewer inputs, among other topics too complex to handle in this video. I was spending less and less time with new fighting games, because new fighting games were giving me less and less reason to stay on board long term. I felt like there was less for me to discover, less room to grow. Whether or not that was objectively true can be debated, but it's how I felt, and that's really all that matters. Around 2021, I was feeling especially down about the genre, and I was kinda desperate for the feeling of a fighting game I could really get into again. And while I didn't have too many options for new fighting game experiences, as I had already explored the genre somewhat thoroughly, I did have one game I had always wanted to play. Because its characters looked awesome in BlazBlue, everyone raved about its music, and it had proven to be a fan favorite that lasted a decade in the collective consciousness of fighting game fans. And suddenly, I was convinced that there was a way to make fighting games accessible without ruining it for longtime fans of the genre. I'm talking about Under Night in Birth, EXE Late, CLR. Yeah, if you haven't noticed by now, I usually make an effort to say the game's full title in this show, no matter how stupid they are. In fact, I don't even think I said it correctly. Hey, editing Jason behind the desk here. I believe the title of the game is actually Under Night in Birth, EXE Late Clear? Still not completely confident on that, but it sounds like that's what this lady is saying.
Under Night in Birth, EXE Late Clear.
My word, this game must be good if it can get away with that title. Back to the video. Under Night has a really generous input and buffer system. It has auto combos and really easy manual combos, so players at literally any skill level will be able to feel like they are pulling off something genuinely cool. Normals and specials string together so generously that it's easy for anyone to discover cool looking combo paths, which in turn allows anyone to develop their own distinctive style in how they play the game. Yet, even with all that accessibility, it's also true that just because you find a flashy combo doesn't mean it's even close to optimal. There are tons of deeper system mechanics like Vorpal and Chain Shift that make the game crazy fast-paced and complex for those who want it to be, but can also be completely ignored for those who don't. Every character is so precisely designed to represent a specific fighting game idea and stand out powerfully from each other as a result. I don't think I've ever struggled so hard in a traditional fighter to settle on the one character I want to play. They are all so different in playstyle and so cool in persona. Under Night offers nearly every mechanical tool I can imagine to be kind to novice players, and yet not for a second did I think they were given too much power or too much of a handicap. Nor was I given too low of a skill ceiling to really enjoy myself. And I'm so glad it doesn't even stop there. Beyond loving how utterly fighting gamey these characters are, the story surrounding them is perfectly fighting gamey too, with an arcade mode that offers more narrative context than pretty much any other I've seen. We just talked about earlier how important aesthetics are to personal enjoyment, and in some ways it feels like Under Night is the anime game that could not be more tailored to me specifically. As the name implies, the entire game pretty much takes place at night. And it's located in a bright, colorful, neon city that emphasizes cool color palettes. It's Coruscant! It's everything I love! Under Night's enduring legacy has cemented the game as one of our best, lasting longer than pretty much all big-budget fighters do. Which makes it all the more impressive that, even more iconic than the game itself, is its soundtrack, I swear, for like 4 years. You couldn't watch a single fighting game tournament live stream without them playing Nightwalker somewhere during their intermissions. Under Night relit the spark of fighting games for me. Even though I had played it nearly 10 years after its release, it felt like it might as well have come out the day I bought it. It is an absolute triumph for small scope fighting game development. And even now that the fighting game genre is, in my opinion, on a pretty incredible rebound, Under Night can still go blow for blow with any other game on the market, vying for a spot as one of my all-time favorite fighters.